Hey, yo, civilizations and special unit types, let's go. Now that things have changed in the game, now that we have all these commanders for Smite, for the infantry, now that we have all these commanders for combo, for the cavalry, the things have changed as far as your civilizations. We need to talk about the upgrades and what is being done now when it comes to the buffs of civilizations, because it's going to surprise you. Also, we'll talk about the special unit types, what you want to run, because now in the game, you can pick the special unit type you run, and then you can pick the civilization buff that you want. And we'll go through all of that, and we'll get you set up to run the best that you can run for your account. Hey, yo, fam, I'm your boy, War Daddy Chadsky. I do these videos all the time. You guys know the drill. Love doing these videos and nuances to help you become a better player in Rise of Kingdoms. If you guys enjoy these videos, throw a like on here. Really helps out the videos, really helps out that almighty algorithm, oh boy. And then if you're not subscribed, consider doing so. Hit that subscribe button. Does not cost you a thing. And you can hit that bell for any alerts that we do. Well, let me hop into game here and look at this. I am looking right now at the different civilizations that we have. Now, people have to understand in the game now, we have multiple commanders now, with Gang released in the game, with Achilles released in the game, with Hector released in the game. He's a combo and a Smite commander. Now we've got obviously BQ and Luce. We've had William Wallace, but now we've got Sun Tzu in the game. Holy geez, where's our boy Sun Tzu? He is gonna, I'll have him maxed on this account soon enough, but he is gonna be meta for Rise of Kingdoms, and already seeing that has been another big time Smite commander. So more and more players, and honestly, I've given that advice. You need to go to 2 Smite. If you're running 2 marches for infantry, they both need to be Smite, and you need to get Ragnar off the field. Same thing with cavalry. You're running 2 cavalry marches on the field, get rid of Huo, get rid of the skill damage, run combo, okay? And so with that, I had a hunch that things had changed a little bit with the civilizations. So I go to my boy Daver. His link is down in the description, and I'm gonna pull this thing up. We all need to support Daver, okay? Because he's the guy, he's the mathematician. You got other good ones out there. Billick's fantastic with all that stuff, but Daver and I collab on a lot of stuff. And when we pull this up, he's like, Chadsky, I got the civilizations figured out. So this is his link that you're going to see down in the description. You can come here. Let's support this dude. Let's get this number up here. I support him whether you buy him a cup of coffee, $5, whatever. He's the one that helps us so much with the effectiveness of all the different things that we've done. And he has released his civilization choices in Smite and the Smite and combo meta, because that's what we're in now. Okay, before we get into that, let's look real quick at how this thing works out. When you come over here, and I'll have to pull down my little Chadsky here. Okay, where is this thing at? I'll pull down my little Chadsky so you guys can see. When you come in here and you're switching civilizations, I'm Germany right now because I like the training speed that it gives you. All right, but you have all these different civilizations, and they all do different things. We all know France. France is a universal health civilization with 3% health. Great. The hospital healing speed is fantastic if you field a whole bunch and you want to save on speed ups. So all these different civilizations have different measures. Okay, we've got our rally civilizations for Arabia for cavalry. We've got our archer civilization for archer rallies that we want to run. All kinds of rally civilizations. Where's Greece? Greece is the infantry rally civilization. So you have all these different civilizations that give these buffs. Okay, well, when you come in here, you also have a special unit type, and you can see the different type of base stats that these special unit types have, and they're all different. Okay, and with that, if you come in here, you can also change to Greece. It's going to give you the special unit type, but then you can also change to whatever buff you want for your civilization. They all have different civilization buffs, and these are all the different buffs. We recently got this thing. Okay, you guys see this? Diligent Overseer. Wait a minute, where did this come from? This is a buff that is not tied to a civilization. They just threw it in here that you can use. It's a siege unit situation. Siege units gain 5% attack, and they deal 3% more normal damage. Okay, Gajamata Cordoba, that is Siege Smite. Okay, that might be useful. Also, it has training speed. Wait, what? Training speed? Like, where did this come from? Who made this? We've had this in the game now for a little while, but the one thing I wanted to look at, like I really wanted to look at, is Mayan, okay? You guys know me, I run 3 combo marches for cavalry. Now with Sun Tzu, I'm gonna run 3 smite marches with Sun Tzu. And I thought to myself, I run Mayan and I grab that normal damage of all types of 3%. That's like 3% all damage on 6 of my 7 marches. I'm in. Let's go. And so from that standpoint, I start throwing this to Daver. Daver's like, Chatsky, you're right. I got to go reconfigure some numbers and give you some different ideas of what civilization to run. So first and foremost, let's come into this thing and look at it, because I'm going to pull this up from our boy Daver. Okay, this is the site. You see it down in the link, and you have this different analysis on it. Now, this is the old setup here. And this was something he put out, and I did a video on it probably about 5 or 6 months ago, and things have changed a little bit. Now, we'll talk about the special unit types later, but he goes through all of his methodology. He goes through his reference setup and how it works. He has disclaimers in here. He's also got civilization buffs. France, chivalry is 3% universal health, 20% healing speed. Okay, he's got the pairs he uses when it comes to what's the most effective with which type of civilization. And then he goes even to more in-depth stuff when it comes to the combat effectiveness. Combat effectiveness is what Daver does. Okay, he will tell you a combat effectiveness. Daver, drums versus horn. Give me the combat effectiveness for this march or that march or XYZ, whatever it might be. And he'll tell you. Ring versus greatest glory. How does that work with your combat effectiveness? That's what Daver does. He has a system that is incredible. It is like a big Willy Wonka machine that you go put data in and it spits it out. And it's generally really right. And so when you see this overall, I'm looking at this guy right here, and it's saying it improves smite and combo pairings by 4.4% to 6.8% in effectiveness. Holy jeez. Now, we all know Ottoman has always been great for march speed and skill damage, right? Well, there's just not that many skill damage commanders we recommend to run in the field anymore, okay? So with that, we said, okay, if I'm running 7 marches, what am I looking at for combat effectiveness? And here you go, boys. This is how it works. And this was the hunch I was telling you about. You want to run France, you're going to get a 2.9% combat effectiveness if you run France. You run Realm of the King. Which one was Realm of the King? I forgot. It says it up here. Realm of the King, Ottoman. You have a 3.2% combat effectiveness. You want to run Insights to Itzama. That is the Mayan. Look at that. 5.5% when you run 2 Smite, 2 Combo, 2 Archer skill, and 1 Engineering Smite. That's Gaja Cordoba. 5.5%. It's the best buff from a civilization. Mayan. Let's go. And so from that, Ottoman performance relies heavily on the Archer pairing. If Sun Tzu and Herman dies and drops from your lineup, the improvement falls to 1.7% in the Realm of the King. So that's something to think about, okay? Now I said, okay, let's run 6 marches. All right, 2 Smite, 2 Combo, 2 Archers. Here it is at the top. Chivalry sitting at 2.8%. Realm of the King, 3.6%. The Mayan is 5.1%. That 3% more normal damage really helps. And then the Diligent Overseer, which is the other one that's actually pretty high. Up here it was too. That's the civilization buff without a civilization. We don't even know what to call that. That's just a buff that they gave us. But since you don't have a siege march, all right, you're not getting that extra attack, the buff that comes with it. You are getting 3% more normal damage, but this is what works out really well with Mayans. So guys, you're running Smite and Combo, you're running 2 of each, you're gonna need to run Mayans, okay? And so we saw that 3% more normal damage, that's like 3% all damage for all your marches except your Chin March, okay? Or if you're running 2 Archers, your Chin March and your Zuge March, it doesn't do it. But also, this is why it's also really, really good, because the Mayan civilization has 5% Archer defense. So you actually get a buff for your archers, even though it's normal damage. You get a 5% defense buff, even though the overwhelming advantage is the 3% normal damage that helps your Smite and Combo. You go 5 marches, 2 Infantry Smite, 2 Cavalry Combo, 1 Archer. Look how high this is. compared to everything else. So the combat effectiveness of Mayan, holy geez, get ready, guys. Like if you're still running a bunch of Huos, Ragnars, 2 archer skill damage, then the Ottoman is going to be really high. It's going to ramp up really high. But with how much Ragnar gets wrecked now, I do not recommend it. I didn't even put it in my tier list. With how much Huo gets wrecked now, I don't even recommend him either. I don't even put it in my tier list. If you're running calves, you run combo. If you're running infantry, you run smite. If you're running the others, you need to switch. Eventually, you need to switch. The commanders are putting out are way too powerful. You're going to get wrecked in the field if you don't switch. Okay? So there's other considerations that we need to see, and that's march speed considerations. March speed is very, very good. Okay. Now Rome and Ottoman have universal march speed for all of your marches, 5% march speed. Really, really good. And that's why Ottoman was always so popular. That's why people who only run maybe 2 or 3 skill damage marches out of 7 or 2 out of 6, they still run Ottoman for the march speed and they still get those skill damage buffs. Okay. Pretty much any archer player is going to run Ottoman unless they're a rally, and then they're going to run the buffs from Egypt for the rally damage, right? Then you have the economic buffs. France offering healing speed. This is big, okay, which is especially valuable for players low on speed ups. It remains a premium choice for a KVK. Okay, France is really good. If you're a big time field fighter and you're running out of speed ups, you get the infantry special unit. You can switch whatever unit you want, but the buffs are 3% health for all your marches. And you also get the healing speed from the hospital, okay? Then you've got Diligent Overseer, the 5% troop training speed. Now, those of us who train a lot, like me, I switched to Germany in the off season because I get 5% more training speed because I generally train a whole bunch in the off season, all right? But if you run a couple of Smite marches and you run the Smite Siege March, you can just keep Diligent Overseer all through off season because you're getting the training speed all the time. So how does that work? All right. And from Smite and combo pairings, should you consider other buffs? Okay. To answer this, we added the skill damage pairings for Huo Belisarius, Ragnar, Scipio. Okay. So we compared that stuff and the results against Chivalry, which is France, and Realm of the King, which is Ottoman, the 3 Smite and a combo plus 2 skill damage pairings. France and Ottoman are very close, but Mayan is still better. What? You're running 2 skill damage pairings, but 3 smite and a combo? Mayan's still better. Okay. You run 3 smite and then you run a combo and then 3 skill damage pairings. Okay. Ottoman finally starts to get a better margin. That's a lot of skill damage marches and they're just going to get wrecked. I wouldn't recommend it, but some of you still doing it. You can still run Ottoman. Okay. Considering the universal marching speed, Ottoman should be prioritized when running a 3-3 split between the damage types. And what that means is that if you're running 3 smite or combo, either or, and then 3 skill damage, then you can run Ottoman with the march speed. That's what it's saying. Okay. I don't run 3 skill damage. Okay. A lot of players still do. So Ottoman's still really good. Obviously the rallies and garrisons, for rallies, you prioritize 5% all damage. That's Egypt, Arabia, and Greece, right? That is archers, cavalry, and infantry. All right. For mixed roles, archer players should still consider Egypt or Ottoman. That's for the mixed roles. Okay. If you're doing both. For cavalry or infantry, players with garrison roles, Mayan, let's go, is the viable option. If you're an infantry garrison, or, you know, I'm a cav garrison, but I also rally. So I got to talk to Daver and I got to talk to, you know, the people running the war leading in my kingdom and say, all right, what do you want? Do you want Arabia or do you want Mayan? Because I can do both. And that's one things we got to talk about. So those are your civilization choices. You can check for yourself the combat effectiveness and Mayan. Oh my gosh. There we go, y'all. Holy geez, let's go with Mayan. I thought to myself, because I've been putting it out and I've been joking, kind of tongue in cheek, like I'm going to run 3 smite and 3 combo. I'm going to run Chen with Shajar and her normal damage buff, and I'm going to run Mayan. And everybody laughed at me. And it's like, yeah, no, it actually works, guys. Because this thing up here is really, really good. Now, let's talk about the special unit types, okay? Because that's one of the things that has not changed, all right? When we come up here and we look at this, this was the original that our boy Daver had put together, and it still holds true to today. All right, you look over here on the left side, you've got Arthur and Achilles, Huo, Joan. Arabia is a special troop type you're gonna want for cavalry. You run BQ and Luce and Ragnar CPO. Greece is a special troop type you're going to want, or France for the tankiness. It's either or. And then Chen YSG, Zhuge Herman. You got China. Now you can look at that with the special troop type. And how you find that out, you come over here to China and you go to switch and you come over here and you can calculate the base stats. You calculate the base stats, and for whatever reason, China has 661. When you add all this up, 661. China and Arabia, for whatever reason, have accumulated the most stats, 661. I don't know why, but you come over here and you can look at the different types of, special unit types. You can focus on attack, defense, health, different ways to do that. There's Greece. You've got Rome. Rome obviously is a lot of defense. We had talked about this. The reason why a lot of people like France, and if you're fighting with 3 infantry marches and you're a big time fielder, France is really, really good. You get health for all your troop types. You get the hospital capacity. And then if you want the special unit type, you get a ton of health, tons, for your base stats when it comes to France. And so those are the things that you've got to look for. But overall, when it comes to this, you're thinking about running Arabia if you're cavalry, okay? If you're focused on calves, you can think about running Arabia because the Mamluks are incredibly good, have a ton of stats, ton of health, and a ton of attack. And then if you're working on infantry, you have got Greece, and then you have got France. Okay, and so that's what you look at with infantry. And if you're archers, the special unit type you want, these guys, they look like some go-go gadget gizmo. What is this freaking thing? Like some kind of special crossbow? Mechanical? What? So that's the best thing you can run if you're running a bunch of archer marches in the field. I don't advise it, but if you're running 3 archer marches in the field and maybe 2 calves and an infantry, or 3 and 1 and 1, you definitely got to go with China. Okay, so that is your layout when it comes to this. Me, I'm a cav player. I'm going to run Arabia. And if I switch, I'm going to keep this. Okay. And right now I'm the Eagle of Germany. I'm going to switch to confirm that I want to start running the special troop types. And then I'm going to pick the buffs that I want. Okay. And there's Diligent Overseer. That doesn't have a civilization, but it's got a buff. But oh my gosh, there is Mayan. That's what I'm going to run. I'm going to go run that in the field, get a little buff for my 1 archer march of 5% defense, and then normal damage, baby. 3 combo, 3 smite. Get it on. Let's get after it. That's like 3% all damage for 6 out of my 7 marches. I'm in. Let's do it. And so from there, unless I'm rallying, if I'm rallying, and those of you who are part of that rally meta, and for cavalry, you're basically going to run the same thing. All right. You're going to run Boundless Oasis, which is the Arabian city buff. And you're also going to run it with the unit type. So it's just everything Arabia if you're rallying with calves. Okay. And so that gives it to you. Same thing with archers, same thing with infantry. You got to, if you're rallying, you got to use those buffs. You switch, you make sure you get the buff here, and then you are going to obviously do really well with the infantry special unit type. But if you're infantry and you have to rally and you are low on speed ups, you go to France, you switch over there, then you click here, okay? And then where is this thing at? Where is this? Aegean something, blah, there it is. Then you pick the rallied army damage by 5%, okay? That's your rallied army damage, but I also want the special unit type. So you hit confirm, you get the rally, you get the buff from Greece, you get the special unit type from France, and there you go. So if you guys got any questions, throw them down in the comments. I love talking about this stuff. I love talking about it and figuring it out. I just can't believe Smite and Combo have now taken over. Like no more skill damage for infantry and cavalry. And now it changes the civilizations you want to run and the buffs you want to run. And it changes the special unit type a little bit, not much, but the special unit types are about the same. But now run Mayan, run the Divine Overseer, whatever the heck that is, and you can go cook. So with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, throw a like on here, give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed to my channel, be sure to do so. Obviously, you can hit that like button and help us out. So with all that, We hope you have a great day, broskies.